Welcome, and thank you for joining the Water Peace Project and the 8 days of global love and gratitude water meditation and consciousness experiment. Together, we are connecting through water for peace, a journey through water and your heart. Water holds the answers to all of our questions. Who are we? Where did we come from? And why are we here? Let's chant the Ho'oponopono prayer of forgiveness together. Let's send out our prayers into the water. Together we will say the prayer 3 times. Please repeat after me. Water, I am sorry. Water, please forgive me. Water, I thank you. Water, I love you. Water, I am sorry. Water, please forgive me. Water, I thank you. Water, I love you. Water, I am sorry. Water, please forgive me. Water, I thank you. Water, I love you. In today's session, we will be reflecting on the words of Dr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Secret Life of Water. We will begin with the introduction. Starting with my first collection of water crystal photographs, Messages from Water, in 1999, I have come to realize that these water books have a strange and wonderful power. They have wings of their own and go beyond my own familiar boundaries to distant lands, where they have an enormous impact. They force people to experience a different way of seeing things, and I am often invited to speak to the people who have been touched by these books. I sometimes feel like I am being guided by the spirit of water. I feel like I can see and even talk to the spirit, which I see as water droplets shining brightly in the air. The droplets join together to form clouds, disappearing just as fast, all for my entertainment. Even though I now feel like I am being guided by the spirit of water, my first conscious interaction with water was not at all pleasant. In Yokohama, Japan, where I grew up, my family lived on a plateau near the ocean. It was only a short walk down the slope to the water's edge. When the tide went out, the shallow shore was left uncovered for miles, making it a great place to hunt for various types of clams. But at high tide, the scene was completely different. I must have been 6 or 7 when the sea swallowed me up one day. I had gone out swimming with the boy next door, who was 2 years older than I. We had gone out further than we should have, and I suddenly began bobbing up and down, gasping for air. It was the first time I had experienced anything like it. I was only 10 meters from land, but my feet didn't touch the bottom. I panicked and started waving my arms and kicking my feet. But the more I panicked, the more I sank, and soon I started to swallow water. I thought this was going to be the end of me, but a small boat approached and pulled me out of the water. When I went home and told my mother what had happened, she gave me some advice based on her own ability to swim and her understanding of water. "You can float if you just give in," she said. She told me that if I let the water lift me instead of trying to resist it, it would pick me up and carry me. These words have stuck with me over the years. Since that time, I've tried to let myself go with the flow as I gently move in the direction that I wish my life to take me. Now, whenever I go swimming in the ocean or a pool, I like to just lie on my back and let myself be carried in the arms of water. And it's times like that, more than any other, that I feel the presence of the spirit of water in the form of shining droplets. I feel quite confident in saying that the reason I came up with the idea of freezing water and taking photographs of the crystals was that I desired to go with the flow of life. The spirit of water came to my aid, guiding me to live the life that I now live. The Spirit has led me and guided me over the years, teaching me the many things I need to know, culminating in the publication of my book, The Hidden Messages in Water. Shortly after its publication, readers began sending me letters of appreciation. Their kind words have helped to create a wonderful flow for me to give myself up to. Most of the letters expressed appreciation and also amazement in seeing the truth of nature revealed through water crystals. One woman wrote, "Of all the books that I have read in my life, this is the most wonderful. Thank you so much for this book. It's as if it were surrounded by light. I will treasure it for the rest of my life." Another message read, "To see the truth revealed in such a visible way is truly surprising, amazing, and convincing. This book made me realize that the effects brought about by ancient teachings, prayer, and religion are not simply superstitions and random ideas, but effects based on the truths of the universe." Another wrote, "My 76-year-old father told me, of all the books people had recommended to me, this is the only one I am glad I read. Thank you for this book that has changed my perspective on life." In fact, if we were to take the energy from all these messages and make a crystal, I am certain that it would be a beautiful one. This is the work of the water crystals. I find that those who are attracted by the beauty of crystals become connected, and then they resonate with each other. Like when a single leaf falls onto the surface of water, a quiet and soft but certain wave is spreading out as a result of water's secret life being revealed to mankind. The response has been the same all over the world. I have met with people from Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Holland, England, France, Italy, America, Canada, Costa Rica, Uruguay, Ecuador, Brazil, Australia, South Korea, the Philippines, and Taiwan, where I have given lectures. In June 2002, I was invited by the Greek Orthodox Church to join a luxury cruise seminar tour on the Adriatic Sea, along with religious leaders and scientists from around the world. Symposiums were held in Greece, Albania, Montenegro, Slovenia, Croatia, Italy, and other ports of call, called the International Symposium on Religion, Science, and the Environment. The event was being held for the fourth time. I had been invited just 3 months before the symposium by one of the organizers of the symposium, a Greek woman whose daughter had showed her the collection of crystal photographs. The emotions of the many people who saw the crystal photographs reached behind the individual and resulted in a flow of wonderment from one person to another that has now become a flowing river. There's another way to express a response to the water crystal books. It's as if the water crystals have brought moisture back to the dried up souls of those who live in the harsh conditions of modern society. They have replenished the brilliance of life to individuals and society. More than anything else, the photographs have succeeded in starting an enormous movement that is taking place among people around the world. The act of living is the act of flowing. If a dam is built in a river to stop its flow, the river will die. Likewise, if the flow of blood gets dammed up somewhere in our bodies, it will mean the end of life. The same is true for countries and cities. I was recently blessed with the opportunity to lecture to a large audience in Berlin. As you know, Berlin is a city that was once divided in two by a wall. I told the audience that just as water should remain free to flow, in no way should a city or country be divided. The splitting of Berlin in 1961 resulted in great hardship, loss of homes, and loss of dreams. Then, 28 years later, the wall was torn down, and like water allowed to flow freely, millions of people began to come and go of their own free will. The people emulated the flow of water, a principle of nature. And the reason is that people are mostly water. About 70% of our bodies are water. This is the case for adults of all races, and is why people should not be divided by political strategies and ideologies. Just like water, people must always be allowed to flow freely. When I finished speaking to the audience, I noticed that a change had come over the hall. It was like a feeling spread over all of us. A wave of people stood up and started clapping. Their souls had been touched by my message, and the result was a wave of emotion that encompassed the hall, creating even a larger wave that would expand to others. The desire for peace and prayers of love cannot be contained within borders. Differences in skin color or language are easily overcome when hearts resonate together, creating a new flowing wave. A small adventure, beginning with a tiny little water crystal, has spread to people all over the world, creating a growing movement. The water crystals have resonated with something pure and wholly deep within the souls of people who see the photographs. Hearts have been opened, and love and gratitude and hope for peace have spilled out, opening the way for new adventure. Through this book and through these crystal photographs, I hope to convey the power of prayer. When water is exposed to certain expressions, you're cute, you're beautiful, love and gratitude. A beautiful crystal results when the water is frozen. What does this really mean for us? The thoughts in our hearts have an impact on all life and in the creation of our world tomorrow. A wonderful power resides within the human soul. We hear all the time that our actions are a result of our thoughts, and this principle is truly demonstrated in how water crystal forms according to the influences it has been exposed to. But the power to affect action with thought is a double-edged sword. If people desire to see the destruction of the world, then that is what will result. A lot has happened in our world since people became aware of the water crystals. Gigantic buildings, symbols of civilization and prosperity, have collapsed before our eyes. New wars have erupted. We have seen sadness give birth to anger, and anger create more sadness, creating a cycle that encompasses the world around us. Some people cry, some look down in despair, and some people look up in prayer. We must use the power within us to keep our thoughts focused on the good around us and not on the forces of destruction. We are at a point in human history when we most need to rediscover some important truths that we have somehow forgotten. In fact, this might be our last chance. And this is the reason that I feel water crystals are trying to teach us. My research into crystals began with the desire to get even one tiny step closer to understanding the universe. But that now has led to the evolution of a broad field of study for me. I have seen the effect that bright smiles of people throughout the world and expressions of emotions can have on the formation of beautiful crystals. But you may ask, can world peace occur from mere water crystals? It is my desire to take the first step in that direction, and then one more, and then another, and on toward the end. As I continue my conversation with water, the crystals continue to teach me many lessons. The importance of living in tune with the rhythm of life and the flow of nature, leaving the earth beautiful for future generations, love and prayer. All these various messages have been included in this book. I could be no happier than to find that it has had a positive influence on all those who have picked it up. Finally, I would like to express my appreciation to Beyond Words Publishing, my English language publisher of The Hidden Messages in Water and The True Power of Water, and all others who have helped in various ways, and also my staff at IHM, who endured many hours in a refrigerated room taking pictures of crystals. Let's listen carefully. Let's listen to the voice of water and steep ourselves in the fantasy world created by water crystals. Someday, we will return to water and become part of the natural flow. Filled with amazement, your heart and step will be lightened. Such a feeling will show you the most beautiful sight you've ever seen. There is no need to resist the flow, no need to be afraid of moving forward, and the reason is that you are water. Chapter 2: Water's Healing Melody. If you find yourself feeling down, overwhelmed by the daily grind, or offended by an unkind word or act, then I suggest you try something. Simply look at water. Walk to the edge of a nearby pond or stream and cast your eyes on the gentle waves reflecting the sun. If it's raining, find a puddle and watch the raindrops make rings that appear and disappear. Or, while you're washing dishes at the sink, gaze at the geometric creations made as the light from the window mingles with the water cascading downward. I recommend this because you will discover that water takes you to another world where you will feel the water within you being washed clean. You will be able to return to who you really are. You have just forgotten for a while that you are water. As you let the water flow gently through your mind and your body, it will heal you at your core. The flow of water has much to teach us. In fact, the act of living is the act of flowing. It's almost as if the water within your body has a desire to flow. In the same way, your soul must also flow. When your soul is allowed to flow, you feel a burden lifted from your weary body, for the soul and the body are simply two sides of the same coin. If you have been offended, forgive the offender. And if you feel oppressed for your own offenses against others, forgive yourself. Forgiveness opens up the path for you to naturally and freely flow toward your future. The universe holds something potentially wonderful for you at each passing moment of life. Open yourself to the good things flowing towards you, and you will be able to reach out and welcome a wonderful future into your bosom. If you can't get over a broken heart, no matter how hard you try, the last thing you can do is go back and change the past. But there always remains the possibility that the flow of life will take you to a place more wonderful than you could have hoped for. Every second of life is a new crossroads with new possibilities. If you can realize this, you can free yourself from your burdens. You will see how trivial your problems are, and you will no longer need to be tied to the past. Water teaches us how to live, how to forgive, how to believe. If you open your ears to the possibilities in life, you may just be able to hear the sound of pure water that flows through your body even now. It is the sound of your life, a melody of healing. Water is part of the rhythm of life. The water flowing within us is part of the water flowing through nature and part of the rhythm of life being played out throughout the universe. In Europe and other parts of the world, it has long been said that the moon rules over water. The ocean's tides are directly affected by the movements of the moon. Perhaps low and high tides are the most visible response to the moon, but wherever life is to be found, there is certain to be a link to the movement of the moon. The clam feels the gravitational pull from the moon and opens its shell at high tide. The breeding cycle of the sea urchin is exactly in line with the lunar cycle, and seagulls come to shore to lay their eggs almost always on the evening of a full moon, for reasons other than the increased light. We could hardly expect that human bodies, consisting of 70% water, would be the exception. More babies are born when there is a full moon, as any midwife will tell you. The female reproductive cycle is in time with the moons. Many people with sharpened sensitivities say they are energized on nights when the moon is full. Full moon energy is linked to insanity and stories of werewolves. Even the word lunatic comes from the root lunar. It makes perfect sense that most of the ancient cultures of the world have relied on the lunar calendar to measure time. The lunar calendar, which is clearly aligned with the cycle of life, was an important tool for planting and harvesting crops. When our rhythm is in line with the movement of the moon, we can more easily align to the flowing of water within us. This is nothing less than living life to the beat of a drum played by the rhythm of nature. It is also a piece of wisdom mostly lost on modern man. Similar to the lunar calendar is the 13-month calendar used by the Mayans, which is somewhat different from the lunar calendar. I learned about Dr. Jose Agriles and his wife, Liadine, who made it their cause to print copies of this calendar and spread it throughout the world. They believe that if the calendar is used on a global scale, then people will start to live within the rhythm of nature, thus opening paths that lead to the solutions for many of the problems faced by modern society. According to this calendar, the new year starts on July 26th. When the 365 days of the year are divided by 28, the days in each month, you will get 13 months and one extra day. On the Mayan calendar, the extra day of the year was called the Day Out of Time. All work was laid aside, prayers were offered, and prosperity was celebrated with laughter and dance. While changing to a lunar-based calendar may not be practical or desirable for everyone, we can attune to the moon and the rhythm of life in our own ways. The human body is a tiny universe of its own. Being in tune with this grand universe within allows us to fully experience the energy flowing from the cosmos. When we return to living as one with the universe, we will rediscover the simplicity and spontaneity we were intended for and that was intended for us. The number of people in the world searching for inner healing is vast, and it may include you. Perhaps the reason is because The environment we have created for ourselves has evolved too fast, and now we find ourselves in a world of pain and fatigue of our own creation. How do we save ourselves from it? Listen to the melody flowing from the world around you. When you can feel this rhythm flowing within the water that makes up your being, then you will become one with the water crystals. This is the life that so many of us are searching for. It's the healing experience that we know deep in our souls is waiting for us. Everyone is searching for healing. This concludes today's session. Thank you for joining us for the Water Peace Project Global Meditation as we celebrate and give thanks for all of our water around the world. We hope you enjoyed the reading from Dr. Emoto's book, The Secret Life of Water. Much love and gratitude to Dr. Emoto for all of his research and sharing his special connection with water with us. We hope you will join us again. We love you.